are the blocks. So welcome to the training. So these are the blocks that we want to clear today that actually get in the way of relationship. So I'm not smart enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not confident enough to, I am separate. Like we sometimes run with this idea that we're separate. Bad things always happen to me, so therefore we create them. Money only comes through hard work and struggle.
No.
That can be a real hard one. And everything would fall apart if I wasn't here. So take a snapshot of that and let's just, so you've got it. Okay, so that was some of the things. So you guys, most of you all here know who I am. So we've just got a few people still coming in. So I'll just actually mute you guys if that's okay. So if you just want to mute yourselves in case while we go, welcome Mel. So just be muted. That's it. I probably should have put that on the thing as you came in. So, you know, just about all of you know me, don't you? So you know that I'm a healer type coach, entrepreneur alignment strategist. So we make sure that, you know, the strategies that you're using are really essentially in alignment with your soul purpose, because you can make business, you can make money however you want, you can do business however you want, but I seem to attract and I want to work with people who actually have it all in alignment, like the soul purpose is connected to the business and things like that. So because I feel like we can get a bigger shift when we do that. So I feel like we can really get in. It feels like more miracles happen when you're kind of doing business from a soul place. So what happens when we're doing business from a soul place and from our whole sort of soul essence is our relationships can sometimes come along and, you know, throw us out. So I had someone want me to answer some questions. So I'm going to sort of bring this up and I'm going to tell this story because this is such a common thing. If you are in a relationship or if you're not in one yet or not in one at the moment, this is really common. And someone said that they've quit their corporate job and they've started a new business, and the husband is seemingly supportive, but often makes like mean comments and feel like, you know, he's putting her down. Yeah, so what? It's a relationship. That stuff happens, you know, like we've all got stuff that gets triggered. He's giving you the money, he's giving her money to do, you know, invest in her business, but he makes sort of mean, sort of silly comments like, you know, doing something really silly, like how she walks the dog or something like that. And it feels to her like he wants to sabotage her. It feels to her that this is happening also with her mum in her life. And she'd love to clear that and have truly supportive people around her. So one of the first things that we need to get really clear if we really want to make a big shift is know that nothing's perfect and not everyone's always going to support you. And, you know, some of you guys know me really well. I've shared this story a lot with a couple of people on the call. They're on the call now that have worked quite deeply with me. And I don't share the story necessarily everywhere. But when I first knew, like I went to a healer and I said to her, I think I need to get out of my marriage. I said, I am just like, this isn't enough for me. Anyway, you know what, by the end of the session, what we worked out was, you know, it was me. I was the problem. I had nothing going on. So I was just picking away at this marriage and trying to find my soul purpose through the marriage and through what was happening. And, you know, really within 3 days, it was just a whole lot of miracles that happened. I ended up enrolling to be a kinesiologist and got accepted into the college that I want to get into. And I ended up learning to be a kinesiologist, which was a chunky investment at the time. And it changed my life. But guess what? I'd be going to exams, and sure enough, because it was costing like $25,000, we were on a single income at that time, it was a chunk of change for us, we'd have a fight. So, and I was like, oh, he's sabotaging me, and I'd go and get all the kinesiology on that. Oh, he's wrecking me. You know, in that course, there was only 3 women that didn't leave their husbands out of that whole course. And I was one of them. Because, and I just noticed that, like, those of you that know me notice that I'm a pattern watcher. And I thought, something's not right here. Why are all these women finding themselves, or mostly women in the course, and leaving their partners? To me, it just didn't feel right. So I just decided I wasn't doing that. And I was going to go a bit deeper, and I was going to take a little bit more responsibility, see it from their side, thinking, well, they're worried, they're working really hard, they're shoveling it all, and I'm doing this thing. And his biggest fear was that it was just going to be a $25,000 hobby for me. You know, and I've proved him wrong. But he wasn't sure until I proved him wrong. So, you know, I think sometimes when you really got a big dream, like I knew that I had to do this work. And some of you have got a business that you know that you just have to do. And so, you know, you need to be able to kind of do it without sort of like, you don't need to necessarily get divorced to do it, or you don't need to break up with people to do it. You just need to decide that you're going to do it. So sometimes the relationship things can be really, really, really important. So, you know, in answer to that email, you have to kind of, this is why these clearings are really good. They kind of incubate you from the stuff. You're clearing any energy off, so you can kind of come back to your own alignment and have a certainty around it. And then people change, people catch up. He's my, you know, Mike's met my husband, or knows who he is. You know, he is like biggest supporter, soul guide, you know, biggest guide for me in my business now. Luckily, I didn't just go, he's not on my purpose, he's sabotaging me. And I actually went a bit deeper, yeah? So that's what I'm inviting you to do at the beginning of this, is like, really, we don't want to look around and point the finger at everyone. We want to kind of own it. We want to really own our own stuff and really take responsibility. And also the other thing that I want to say about this is, you will go ahead of your partners at different times, or your relationships, your families. You'll evolve beyond them. And what I ask you to do, and I really believe in this, and I've really done it myself, and that is, you need to leave a bit of a cushion of grace, I call it. So you allow people to catch up. You just leave a cushioned grace where they can't get into your inner space necessarily and steal your dreams and kind of shit on you. But there is kind of a cushioned grace where that you allow them to kind of evolve and catch up to you. And you'll know that, you know, some of you will know that from some of your oldest friends. You know, you kind of grow away, you do different things, but you don't necessarily cut them off or burn the boats. And then later on you catch up 5 years later, you're kind of in the same track, or a year later. So we want to have that fluidity around relationships. And the main reason why I want you to do that is because I do not want you to waste energy on it, because you're using part of your brain, part of your creating energy on that, when you could be creating money, you could be creating a good business. It's an energy leak. So anyway, put in the chat if you've got any questions as we go. But let's go through this. So I want you to say, so you should all be muted. I want you to say out loud, I am not smart enough. So just say, I am not smart enough. And just feel how that feels. And then just put in the chat, or just write down, does that feel true to you? Does that feel like, is that catching you somewhere? I'm not smart enough. And then I want you to just think about, I've opened up the kinesiology circuit, so it should be really easy to get these things flowing through and have this kind of inner guidance and understanding. Has anyone come into your mind that possibly said that to you? It might have been a father, a mother, a teacher, you know, who said that to you? That, or is it yourself? If it's yourself, it's usually sometimes been imprinted on you as well from something. Self, all of the above. Okay, and just make a note, I'm not smart enough. So hopefully you got a journal, piece of paper. I'm not smart enough, and just write it down, because we're going to clear these people. If it's yourself, we're going to clear the age that you picked that up. Okay, and the next one is I'm not worthy of. So if you're single and you would love a soul partner, you might be saying, I'm not worthy of a soul partner, or I'm not worthy of money, or if I lose weight, or if I make more money, I'm worthy of, like, what's this whole thing of worthy? So just put that. I'm not worthy of. So first say it out loud. Let's see if we can get it activated, because kinesiology, the techniques that I use, clear what's activated. So we activated whatever we find here will help kind of, you know, transition that. So I want you to say, I'm not worthy of, and see if it feels true to you. And if so, just put it in the chat. Let's see how you're going with that. And the next one I want you to say out loud is, I am not confident enough to. I am not confident enough to. And just, what is it? What is it you're feeling not confident enough to do at the moment? I am not confident enough to. And is there anyone that comes to mind now? And make a list of these people, because I want to go in and clear them all from your nervous system, like where they're not really getting stuck into your brain pathways. You've got, it's almost like we're clearing, you know what we're doing? We're actually clearing your allergy to them so that you can process that being around them or thinking about them. You don't get like a histamine reaction sort of thing, like a reaction to a trigger. So what would be, I am not confident enough to do what? And where do you think that comes from? Is anyone, do you feel not confident in front of some people? We want to get you in such a soul blueprint, so aligned to what your real purpose is, that you could be standing on stage next to Oprah, you name it, whoever is your biggest thing, and feel at equal to. Not feel less than, but feel equal to. That is the goal. Like when you're in your soul pattern and purpose, you feel completely equal to everybody. And that's the place to be. Great for business, very sexy for relationships, very good for money. You can be around billionaires, millionaires, and feel equal to. Imagine how that's going to change your life as far as you're being able to receive money as well. Okay, the next question I want you to say out loud is, I am separate. I am separate. And just see if that feels true. By the way, you're not meant to feel separate. You're meant to feel this oneness. It's meant to come, you're meant to feel it in your pores. You're meant to feel it in your heart and your feet and your toes. You're always meant to feel like you're part of something. It's just how we're designed for humanity. We're actually designed, we're all part of each other. It's not that we're going to get in everyone's lunchbox and eat what they're eating, but we got to have, when we know we're in alignment, we feel like, it's almost like we're in a field of love, like people are coming towards us, we're serving them, we're making money, we've got our intimate relationships, got people we're close to, got the dog. So just write down if you're separate, if you're feeling this separate, and anyone coming to mind at the moment that makes you feel separate. You know, it might be the popular girls or the cool guys. You know, I even did something recently on myself on the popular girls. I don't know where it came from. I thought, what's that? Oh, it's a really old thing from, you know, not being part of purposely not being part of the popular girls. Well, there's a judgment of popular girls, and I'm rejecting beautiful people that from my 13-year-old brain was seeing as the popular girls. So, you know, is there a popular girl or a cool guy thing happening that you don't feel like you're as good as them if they're in the cool club? Because we want to have with business, we want to have none of that stuff, because you want them to be coming to you. Okay, the next one, bad things always happen to me. Have we got that one? Bad things always happen to me. How you can find out if you've got it is you can simply say it out loud and see if it feels true to you. And then you can think of the people like, I've recently had a client where there was some stuff that happened in their relationship, and they took it as, well, that's kind of bad things happen for them. That's all they deserve. They only deserve a relationship like that. And what that does in the quantum field and in the healing realm is it kind of blocks healing because it locks them together. And even if your partner's failing or going through a terrible time, you don't have to be locked in on that. They might not have work, they might not have money, they might be having all sorts of weird stuff going on. And if you think that you're part of that, well, you will be part of that, but we want to break you out of it. So it's not like you're carrying the weight of someone else's karma, actually. That's what we're talking about here. You want to be not carrying the weight of another person's karma, but you want to be witnessing them through their journey. Even your closest intimate partners can have heavy duty stuff come up, and you can do this thing in your mind where you go, oh yeah, well, bad things always happen to me. This is the only husband that I deserve, or this is the only wife that I get to have, or this is my ex-husband, I get to deserve a crappy divorce like that. So we got to really pull out of that, because it just takes decades out of your life when you could be creating really good businesses. And I'm all about business and money, where you can create new things, you can do good stuff with money, you can help people with money. If you're all caught up in this stuff, I just feel like it's a bit of a waste of a life. Okay, next, say this one. Tell me what you think of this. Money only comes through hard work and struggle. Money only comes through hard work and struggle. So just see if this is true for you. Money only comes through hard work and struggle. So say it out loud. Does that feel true for you? Have you had to struggle with money? Have you had to struggle? And who told you that? Like, where did you get hard work? Money only comes from hard work and struggle. Anyone coming to mind? It might be in the DNA line. It might feel really strange to make money easily. It might feel really strange to make more money than your father or your mother or your husband. A lot of women are tracking through that one at the moment. How's that one feeling? Okay, and the next one is, everything would fall apart if I wasn't here. Everything would fall apart if I wasn't here. How's that feeling? You can say it out loud to feel the feeling. I had a woman entrepreneur yesterday who, is so living in that. She hadn't, been doing everything, like the doing everything thing that people do. And, CEOs have it too. They can't quite let go. So is that, and where did it come from? Where did that come from? So I know we've activated a lot of stuff, but we're gonna work through. And so you should have from that a bit of a list of people. So have you got a bit of a list of people? Is it the same people or is it different people? So put in the chat, is it the same people that you'll need to let go and clear? Mostly the same, yeah. So welcome if you've just arrived, welcome to the training. What we're doing is we're just tracking through some negative kind of beliefs to kind of find out where they're from so we can clear them, move out of survival and into, like a healed place with relationships. Okay, so you've got your list. So what I want you to do is I just want you to draw a little circle around the names. So we're just going to put them into a circle. Okay, if you've just arrived, just put a circle draw a circle and put names of people that you think may be affecting your purpose or your what you need to do. Okay, then what I want you to do is I want you to draw 3 lines on a page like that. And what we're going to do is we're here, right? We're in this line and we think we've got these relationships and we've got these stress and and it takes time and things go better and then they get worse again and we go, it becomes like that. And what we want to do is we want to quantum leap over to another timeline. We're going to jump over to another possible future. Because if you, I don't know if any of you are doing, I know most of the people that I'm working with are dipping into a bit of quantum physics, where they've got a lot of science on this now. The healers have known this forever, but there's a lot of science coming in to back it up, that we can actually quantum leap into another possible future. We call it a paradigm shift. So my kind of goal for you today in this session is to try and help you flip into a whole new paradigm. Because I just think we should go a lot quicker. Like, we can work on relationships and that's all good, but you know, who's in long-term relationships? I know that's a bit of a grind. But sometimes if we just quantum shift and we leap across into that other possible future, people just look at us and it's like there's been a miracle. Our faces look different, their faces look different, and we call it a healing. It's like things just change. You know, you get it often when we do these kind of clearings, that you get a message from someone, you know, and it's like everything's being forgiven, actually. And so my kind of intention for this, thing, I was getting quite nervous about it, is that we're going to actually quantum leap you into another possible future. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to write down what is right now. So this is a good way to just kind of open up the circuit for this. I just want you to write down what is your relationship with the Creator, God, whatever you want to call it, the universe, higher power. Let's just get you into the zone to do the quantum. We need to ask a few questions to kind of get you in there, like to open up that circuit. What is your relationship? So just jot it down, put it in the chat if you want to share it. Is it good? Is it close? Is it great? Is it lost? Is it not really engaged? Is it not really into it? Anything's fine, whatever you write. And then I want you to write down, what is your relationship with yourself right now? Because it's between you and God. All your relationships between you and God, really. You know that, don't you, guys? It's not even the other person. The other person is just there to shine it back at you. Okay, what is your relationship with yourself? And the next thing I want you to say is write down, what is the story that's really affecting you at the moment? Like, what's the story that is really affecting you at the moment? Is it a lack of a relationship? Is it a divorce? Is it a trauma with your husband? Is it a lack of employment? Is it financial? Is it lonely? What is it? And then when you've done that, I want you to write down, what is the story that you'd like? Like, what is the story that you'd like it to be? Get really specific too, if you can. Don't just go loving relationship. Just say things like someone really committed, someone who's living with me, you know, someone who I'm married to, someone who does this with the kids. Just write down exactly what it would look like. Someone who's working on themselves, someone who's working on evolving themselves like I am, someone who's into business. So I want you to write down, what is the story that you would like, particularly around relationship too. Like, what is the story that you'd like? And throw a money goal in there, because we like to bring all that together. Because money's, you know, they say there's only two things, money and love. I like to bring them together. The two things that upset people the most is money and love. If you go and do NET, whoever does that chiropractic, you know, when they clear the thing, they check, is it money or love? They check two categories and they go from there, which is really, that's super fascinating to me. So we'll do them together today. Okay, and then how would you like those characters to be? So what would you like? The people that you've got coming into your life, if we jumped across, when we're going to jump across here, how would you like those characters to be, to show up? Because what we need to create how we want people to show up. Otherwise, it's a bit of a responding game. Like I want someone to show up to be devoted, committed, wise, super wise. I want someone wiser than me, actually. That's pretty juicy. I want an oracle. I like someone to be resourceful. What is it that you want? I want a particular financial goal. I want my children to be achieving and connected spiritually. What do you guys want? Okay, as someone with that story, the plot and everything, with that happening, what character do you need to be to show up in that? What character do you need to be? Like, who do you need to be? Interestingly, when I looked at mine, and I did this recently, there were pretty hard, pretty big goals there and a lot on my plate. And what I actually found when I checked it out with kinesiology is I actually had to be softer. And it's not what I thought. So, it's interesting. So just let it come in. We've got the kinesiology open, so it should be really easy to think in the space, especially as you're automatic writing. What's the character? Who is this character that you are when we jump across the lines, when we go from there to there? Who's this new character on this other future timeline that we're going to jump to? Okay, so what we're doing, guys, what happens with quantum physics, and it happens, in the soul records, if you like, what happens is when we can align with a better possible future, you know how things pixelate, like when you turn on Netflix or something and it kind of pixelates, we're actually doing that. We're actually jumping to a new timeline. It just pixelates. It just needs to adjust. The picture needs to adjust to what we've now become a vibrational match for, if you like, or we're in resonance with, or we're in alignment with. Okay, so let's jump from one to the other. And what I'm going to do is, if you can even look at your page, if it gives your brain something to do, to connect to, we're going to clear each of these lines so that we can get to that future baseline. Okay, so the first line that we're going to clear, this line that you're in at the moment, is a survival. You're in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you're in a bit of a fight-flight thing where you're always just responding to things all the time. And it wears you out and it stops you kind of really being, and this is the character I am. These are the people that are around me. You actually create them, and they'll start showing up like that. You can send me a message when it happens and give me the feedback. But if you really align to it, people start showing up how you imagine they would. It's pretty spooky. And then you realize just how powerful you are. When you really get into alignment, really good things start coming your way. And that's what we really want for you. So first of all, we're going to do a survival clearing. Okay, so I'm just going to look up the issue that we're clearing on this. We've got the kinesiology. And it says, are you in a situation that feels like a duty rather than something you want to do? So we need to ask that question first. So just automatic, write it out. This is that timeline, that survival timeline. We want to jump out of this sort of energy of this. So are you in a situation that feels like duty rather than something you want to do? So either put in the chat or write it down. We've got to get it out. So write it down. Don't just think about it. Put it on a bit of paper or put it in the chat. Okay, so there's a category that we're clearing, and it's a secondary gain. And what's really interesting about secondary gain is it's almost like you get something out of it by being stuck in this. So I want you to kind of get really honest with yourself. Like, what is your secondary gain to this? Like, you know, if I want to be really super, you know, vulnerable and transparent, if I'm making, you know, a good more, if I'm the main provider, I get a bit more power. So I've got a little bit more control. So there's a secondary gain in that, if I'm being honest. So that can be in the way because I might like having a bit of power on that. You know, there's kind of a bit of an ego thing on that, if I'm being honest. This is a place of being honest about relationships. So I need to let that go in a way because it might be blocking me actually receiving, you know, some of those things that I might want in a relationship, because actually I'm getting a kind of, there's a gain to that negative thing. So, you know, let's dig in, like, let's get really honest. What's the secondary gain that you've got by this duty, you know, having this duty thing that you're doing? Does it mean that you get more control? Does it mean that you get to be the martyr, or you get a bit more attention and sympathy, or what is it? Like, put it in. So just if there's anything on that, let me know. So it's really good to get honest with the secondary gains because they're so elusive. And they're part of a pattern, a soul pattern that's quite hard to break, because they give you like even if you don't want what you've got, because you get kind of gain something out of it, the pattern stays. So we have to kind of let go. We have to surrender that secondary gain. Okay, that makes sense. Georgie, thanks for sharing that. My second grade, my story around being the good parent, like a martyr. Yeah, it was like a martyr thing. You get to look like the hero because the ex is acting like a pork chop, and then everyone sees that, but meanwhile you're carrying all this thing and doing all the sacrifice thing. Yeah, it's like a really good thing to let go. And that's the timeline, like that's part of the story. So you'll find a bit of the secondary gain thing when you actually wrote down what the story is. If you have a look at the story you wrote, there'll be a secondary gain in that, like this line here, you know, back where we were. Okay, so let's get rid of that secondary gain energy and that surviving in that secondary gain stuff. So, it's survival programs related to relationships. So willing to give access to all survival, secondary gain programs related to relationships. So we're going to go in and do a bit of a healing on that now. So I want you to say, my goal for this balance. This is a balance. We're rebalancing and flipping. So my goal for this balance is to clear all survival, secondary gain programs that prevent me from relationship and business and money, because this training is also about business and money. And then I want you to say, I, and then your names, am willing to give up all survival programs that prevent me from great relationships, business and money. You know, those relationships that you've already identified how you want. Just say, it is safe for me to release all survival secondary gain programs that prevent me from great relationships, business and money. Okay, so it's not safe, so we just need to clear an attitude on that. So just let me have a look. So we've got the energy of deserted. So deserted's coming up. How have you guys felt deserted? Is deserted feeling strong for you? How are you feeling a bit deserted? And do you think about things? Do you think you're deserted a lot? So remember, your relationships are between you and God and almost no one else. So you can never be deserted by that kind of higher power. It's always kind of there. So when we reconnect to that, we get this extra superpowered strength to get us through any kind of weird human relationship. So we need to reconnect to that. So our thoughts can separate us. Remember, it's getting back to the separation thing. Our thoughts can separate us and make us feel separate in relationships. And, you know, people are just going through their normal lives and being, you know, normal, imperfect human beings, aren't they? So we've really got to incubate this deserted feeling, because you know what I'm about. I just feel like it's a bit of a waste of energy. We could be creating businesses and making money and doing cool stuff. And we're going, oh, now we're feeling deserted for a week. I just don't want you guys to be in that space for too long. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do in a week with clients and business and people and friends that you've wasted feeling deserted. You know, obviously if you've got some deep therapy to do on that, you need to do it. But I'd rather that you could try and flip out of it really quickly, because it's a waste of brain power. So and I'm saying brain power because it's coming up as a brain power thing that I need to clear. So it's not a feeling. I'm not getting you guys are getting it as a feeling. You're getting it as a thought. Okay, so we can change a thought, okay, really quickly. So I want you to say, I make the commitment to kindly, gently, lovingly and supportively transmute, transform, transcend and dissolve. So transmute, transform, transcend and dissolve the thoughts I have associated with, deserted, into a responsible expression of all-encompassing love. So, you know, if we were going to do a longer training, what I'd probably get you to do, and you can always do this for homework, but what you could do is you could write down, you know, 30 reasons why you're not deserted. If, you know, some of you, I know some of you are on this call too, you know, like had terrible divorces and some pretty big stuff happen and some pretty bad traumas with your husbands and wives. So, you know, sometimes you just need to change your brain about it. Otherwise, you're still going to get the feeling and you're going to be in the survival timeline thing. And we want to flip you into the other timeline. So we're always going to trick you into it, but you'll feel better over there. Do you know what I mean? But you might want to let go this track that you're on and where you're heading, and we want to put you into a different future. Okay, so let's say it again. Let's see if it's safe now. It is safe for me to release all survival, secondary gain programs that prevent me from great relationships, great business, great money. And I want you to imagine the goal after healing, what it's going to feel like. So try and flip into that story you wrote, you know, like we're on the third line along, and what it would feel like. What it would feel like. Where is it in your body? Is it in your body? Sometimes men have it outside their body, so don't worry if it's not in your body. If you're a guy, you might need to see it ahead. Guys have got a bit of a different chemistry. Woman, you should probably feel it pretty well in your body. Okay, and now let's do this. I want you to do some statements, and I want you to say, it is safe for me to have great relationships, great money, and great business. And then I want you to say, it is safe for others for me to have great relationships, great business, great finances. My opinions are more important than, and then look at your list of people and say their names, illusions. And if it's just your family, your body already knows the people. You just say, my family's illusions, or my ex's illusions, or whatever it was. So I'll just say that again. You can repeat after me. My opinions are more important than, say the names, illusions. Okay, and take a breath, because we're doing a big, it's almost like a bit of a soul release. And then I want you to say, I completely release any focus on the illusions of, and then you can say their names. Take a breath. Understand what you're saying as you're saying it. You're actually making declarations that you're not going to focus on the way they see things, because you want to see people better than they're seeing themselves almost. Yeah? So you're not going to hook into their patterns again. Okay, then I want you to say, I completely release the belief in the illusion of these relationships. And then say the names. Okay, I completely release participation in making others' illusions more important than my own reality. Take a breath and understand what that means. Try and feel what that means to you. You'll get your own messaging on this. You have your own connection on this. And then I want you to say, I am free to integrate my inner child. And just let that inner child come in, because a lot of these relationships have been like kind of, if we're doing a longer training, or we're going to do another training next week on this. I'm focusing on relationships the next couple of weeks. We'll do another free one. A lot of this inner child stuff, some of you on the platform too, I know we did it yesterday, didn't we, Jamie, too, is from inner child. Like a lot of the way that these relationships have been kind of wired is from childhood. So we'll just say it again, just letting that go. As much as anything that can be released will be released today. So we don't need to worry too much about it. And just say again, I am free to integrate my inner child. I am ready, willing, and able and committed to great relationships, great business, great money from this moment forward and into infinity. So we're going into that infinite possibility energy. Okay, so I want you to just breathe in love, grace, forgiveness to all the people that have been giving you the shits, if you like. And breathing out any energies that don't serve you. We'll just do that 3 times and then we'll do some tapping. So breathing in, love, grace, and forgiveness. And breathing out any energies that don't serve you. And breathing in, love, grace, and forgiveness. Breathing out energies that don't serve you. Okay, and then we use my little signature technique. So we're going to put your hand on your forehead and you tap straight down the midline from the top, sort of right down to the pubic bone, if you like. And I want you to just think about their faces, if you've had a terrible trauma with someone, if they've given you the shits, if they've taken you to the cleaners, if they've taken the kids, whatever it is, let's just tap down and really clear it out. So you put your hand on your forehead and you're breathing in. We're clearing your allergy to them, okay? That's what we're doing. And breathing out. So your system is not kind of going to get allergically stuck in that timeline pattern with them. That's what we're clearing out. So breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And fast breaths now, so we're kind of really getting out of the nervous system. And normal breathing. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now that you have released all survival secondary gain programs related to these relationships, I want you to go inside and I want you to imagine what your life's going to be like. So again, you've already written it down. Just get the feeling of that feeling, what it's going to look like. sound like and feel like. And I want you to say I and then your names. Now choose to live my life 100% free of all survival secondary gain programs that prevented me from great relationships, business, and money. I gratefully accept and retain the benefits of this balance. I now know and believe that once this balance is fully integrated, I'll be 100% free of all survival secondary gain programs that prevented me from great relationships, business, money, all the good things. Because we're assuming that you've already got a connection to source, right? We're assuming that, of course, you've got a connection to source. Of course, that only good things will come. Okay, so let me just see how you're going on the timeline. So now what we've done is testing. We're on the second one, so we've still got one more to go. So we've gone from that one to that one, the middle one. What do you think it would take for you to really get into the next level? What do you think it would take for you to really jump and really be able to, from this moment and this point of time, get around like it's already done? Like you've already kind of, I want to say, forgiven the people. You've already healed the people. Doesn't mean to say you need to hang out with them or anything, but you're already healed of that dynamic. What do you think it would take? It's all right, I've already looked it up earlier, but I just wanted to ask you. Put in the chat, a miracle. That's it. It'll take a miracle. What have you got? A miracle. What else? Confidence. Okay, so I've got forgiveness. And there's a new definition of forgiveness. Forgiving is not for others. You're not forgiving others you're not forgiving people for them. It is for you. And so forgiving is not forgetting. It's not forgetting either. Like, actually don't forget, because you might need to have your wits about you on someone. It is remembering without anger. So our goal today to really flip into that next timeline is we need to have to remember them without the anger of that situation. I mean, by the way, it doesn't mean you're not going to get angry with them again. Like if they come and do something that's against your sovereignty and against that's just not good, you know, get angry. But we've got to let go the other anger that's kind of your brain's getting hooked into. And then if we can clear away that, then you're a little bit smarter in your response with people that are tricky. You know what to say, you're quicker to protect yourself, or often you find yourself not even in that situation. So, you know, those people, you must know those people, you know, they're angry and then people just stop listening to them. They're like going off. And then they just, you know, like you see it with politicians and it's like they're not smart because they let their emotions run it away and they're caught now in all that drama. You see it a lot with the coronavirus. Everyone's having all these debates. They got hooked in and it's all dark and then that energy goes down. And so we want to clear that up so that when you do have an argument or when you do have a confrontation or when there's something that needs to be sorted, you're kind of like really smart, really fresh, and quite influential because you haven't got the old baggage and people can feel it and they think, well, this person's got influence. There's truth. There's a strong power with that person that wasn't there before because you're not carrying all the shit. Does that make sense? Okay. So what this does is it frees up your power, which I've just been talking about, heals your body. So we get them out of your body. They're actually taking up space in your cellular body. Like if you don't want to feel sick about that, you probably, you know, and that's why you got to get them out. And your mind and spirit. So, you know, they're in your body, mind and spirit when you haven't kind of forgiven them. Forgiveness opens up a pathway to a new place of peace where you can persist despite what has happened to you. So that's where we're going, okay? So it says true forgiveness is when you say thank you for the experience. So what I want you to do is I want you to say, if you're willing to do this, you can do this later. You can watch this part of the recording later, like it's, you know, an hour in if you want, if you're not ready to do it now. But I want you to say, and then your name. Now choose to forgive. And then I want you to name the person, group of people, whoever they were, for the pain that they caused me. So you might find it hard to forgive. Remember, we're actually getting them out of your bodies. That's what we're doing, out of your spirit. You're releasing them. You're not forgetting, because you might need to be smart about their character and know that they might have a few defects, and you don't really want that to kind of affect your new way forward, but you're not going to carry it. Yeah. Okay. So this is a really kind of seems very woo-woo, but there's some kinesiology circuits that repattern the nervous system, the auric field, the chakra system, and kind of repattern your hologram so that you're a little bit more contained and you're not so energetically affected by people. So what I'm going to do is you're going to put 5 fingers into your forehead and 5 fingers right between your, in the center of your chest, or between your nipples, or in the center of your heart. Just find that spot. It seems very woo if anyone walks in and think, what are they doing? But it works, so that's why we do it. And I want you to say, I want to find peace by forgiving and releasing, and their names. You've got the list of people. So I want you to take a couple of deep breaths in, and then release. And again, breathing in, and then release. And then I want you to say to yourself, so see them in front of you, and you're doing this from a soul level. You don't even need to necessarily even do this, but we can do it from this level. I want you to say, I forgive you, and just see how it feels like, how you say that, what that feels like. And essentially, you can actually add, I forgive and release you if you like, because that then you doesn't feel so like you're sacrificing yourself to them. So you can say, I forgive and release you, and breathing in and breathing out. And then I want you to imagine them looking back at you and saying, thank you for forgiving and releasing me from this pattern too. So we're releasing out of that timeline. That's what we're doing. And just take a couple of breaths. And just see them thanking you, and you hear them say, thank you for forgiving and releasing me from this pattern too. Someone's got to do it. It was you. And if you feel to it, you can imagine giving them a big hug and truly feeling that you've forgiven them and released them, and that you've found peace. And just notice that they're actually, it's almost like a karma is finished. God willing, a pattern that might have been going for generations may have just been dissolved by you because you had the willingness to do it. And I want you to breathe in love for yourself and breathing out love to them. If you can't breathe out love to them, you can imagine God, the universe, giving them love, because everyone deserves love, even if they've been cruel. Breathing in, love to yourself. Breathing out love to them. If you can't breathe out love to them, just breathe out a neutral color. Maybe it's a light blue. Breathing in love to yourself. And just breathing out, maybe just a color towards them. Sometimes we get it to go to the divine, and the divine gives them the love. That's if you need, because some people actually need a buffer because the toxic's been so psychically toxic. So if you feel like you need a buffer, some people put an angel, go through the angel, so you're not actually in their view. Okie dokie. How's that feeling? So I now choose. I have released and forgiven, and their names. I now know and believe that I have released and forgiven, and their names. Okay, so now we're at the third one. I like that. So we're all testing good, guys. You guys have done really well. We're on the third line, so we've jumped. Okay, so I want you to just close your eyes, and we're just going to allow some gold to trickle in. Gold's a really good color to trickle in. So just imagine a bit of gold coming in through the top of your head, and just imagine this new kind of soul pattern that's happening for you, where you're actually existing in this new story. And I just want you to feel the feeling and where it feels like as it's coming in your body. You're actually more in resonance with this new timeline than with the old one. And you're going to allow it to come forward. You're going to allow it to show up. You're going to look for it. And you're going to keep the feelings of that. So just anchor it in. And just see if you need to anchor it in. Like, I find it's really good to anchor it into one part of my body so I can kind of go conscious on that. Like, I'm doing my feet at the moment. So when I'm doing big walks, I'm feeling like it's getting patterned in every time I walk. So there might be something you want to do there, just to pattern it in so it's all kind of always with you. It's not a concept. It's actually something that you embody. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions on that, guys? Welcome back to the room. If you have any trouble integrating that, remember you can always tap. I love that. You know, you're basically clearing your allergy to people. And that can be really super powerful. You clear your allergy to people. Any questions? Anyone feeling stuck on anything? Anyone want to share anything? Anybody got an aha? Someone's talking about the book Radical Forgiveness. Yeah, you can call it. If forgiveness has got a bit of a bad rap over the years. So, I mean, you can call it releasing as well. You're releasing something. You're letting it go. You're letting go the whole drama around it. Lots of good aha moments. Okay, any other questions? Thank you all for coming, guys. I'll be doing another one. I've got to work out with my schedule where I'm gonna fit it in, but I'm gonna be doing one on emotional bruising. So we'll go in a bit deeper into some of those emotional bruisings. We'll be doing it definitely doing it next week. Also, if you're interested in joining me, I'm launching another Shine pod soon. There's only 5 people in the Shine group. And what we do is I'll show you a slide on it while I've got you here. Let me bring that up. Some of you may have already done this with me. So let me have a look. So some of you have already done this, but this is starting in a couple of weeks. So if you want to come apply for this, you go to that, have a look at it, jencummel.com.au Shine Online. And this is where we kind of really activate your business, and we really make sure that you're really in your unique brand, you're confident with sales, you're activating and attracting the right people. And most importantly, you're making your mark on the world. So we can get on with the kinesiology and we can really activate and get real downloads on how you're meant to be marketing, what you're meant to be doing. I've had people's actually having physical healings in that group at the moment. Like, it's pretty juicy. So I do one every, so often, and we've got one coming up on the 22nd of May. So let me know if you want to join that and get a real activation on your business and your money mindset, and actually manifesting more business, more money from a place of a soul aligned kind of business where we get extra downloads, extra juice. Okay, guys, and if you're not in the Manifesting Business Free Trainings group, jump in there. I think you're all pretty much in there, aren't you? But definitely join that, because that's where if people can't invest in me or they're not able to, I like to still help them, and that's what these free trainings are for. So you make sure you get all the notifications on those when they come in. Okay. Any questions? See you guys then. I'll look out for the next one. We'll probably have it next week. Okay. Ciao, ciao. Thanks so much, Jen, for coming. It was so good to see you all. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks, darling. Bye.
Bye. Ciao.